Prem Solo Vindravan Bihari Lala Ki Jai. Sitaram everybody and welcome to Satsangh this evening, where this evening we want to do, many people have been asking questions, they've been hearing, for those of you that show interest in the Patras of Akshaya Tritiya is tomorrow. Tomorrow is a day that is hailed as one of the great days in the Hindu calendar. It is considered to be, that word Akshaya means inexhaustible. And on this day, people engage in different acts to gain a myriad of wonderful benefits that bring about change, positive influence in their lives. Tonight, permit me, as we do this discourse, to explain the value of tomorrow, and then we're going to discuss what we are going to do, how we're going to do, what can you do at home, and then I want to let you in on what I'm doing tomorrow for everybody's benefit. So we have a lot to discuss tonight. Please put your hands together as we do invocation mantras. Om Gajananam Bhutaganadi Sevitam Kapet Jambu Palchar Bhakshitam Umasutam Sho Kavinashkarakam Namami Viganeshwara Parapankajam Om Sarvamangala Mangalye Shive Sarvart Sadhike Sharanye Trayambike Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Paramanandam Madhavam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Prem Solo Shri Vindravan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Umapati Mahadev Ki Jai. Sit down everybody. So tonight as we listen about this discourse, the first thing we want to highlight is that tomorrow is something called Vrish Sankranti. And all that means is, Sankranti means it is the day of the cusp in English, to use the English word. And what that means is, in the morning is Aries, and in the afternoon time, it's going to be Taurus. So it is a day of transition. On this particular Sankranti, people would normally give clothing, foodstuff, things to drink in charity to gain the blessing. We did this before when we were doing Makar Sankranti on January 14th, earlier this year, as we do. For every month there's a Sankranti day. And on this day, we do puja, we do worship to the sun as he's making transition from one house into another house. Every day the sun is moving 1 degree, as he's changing from house to house, patra to patra, as a person will see good and bad. The first thing I want to highlight is that when the sun is going into Taurus, people feel energized. For example, because of this, people who are working, essential workers, doctors, nurses, they will feel invigorated. you can expect that people will want to go out to work and fight and do the good, and they will be energized. It is not a time for low morale. It is a time for heightened morale. It is a time for heightened energy. And people will want to get out there and do what they have to do. And God bless them for that. Let me make mention at this time in our Satsangh that God bless and protect these people in this fight that we are fighting right now for our lives. So severe is this virus. Home here in Trinidad and elsewhere in the world, because of the frontline workers, this battle has been waging so long. In the early stages, people knocked their pans and played instruments for them. And we still pray for them because we cannot forget them. Whilst others took a break, while people got frustrated, while people gave up the fight, while some people relaxed and went to party, and some people went to the supermarket as if it had nothing going on. The doctors, the nurses, the caretakers, the funeral home supervisors, the attendants to the wards, all these people continued this fight. So we must give them kudos for the work that they are doing. Could you imagine how frustrated they might be in places where people are taking unnecessary risk? How their life work seems as if it is in vain. They are the true soldiers now. The people in the war that fight for the freedom and the democracy of this world. Could you imagine how frustrated they feel when people fragrantly just throw away their freedoms and they take it for granted, like not showing up to vote or something like that under normal circumstance? Now we are talking about life and death, and people they are not heeding the warnings. Instead, they are thinking about all sorts of things not to do the correct thing. It is my right not to wear the mask. It is my right not to get the vaccine. And all sorts of arguments. And there still the nurse and the doctor risk their lives to protect and then cradle us when we pay the price for the poor decisions we make. God bless them for what they do. That morale will be very high right now. But also, going into Taurus, it talks about a surge. It shows that there's an opportunity for an upsurge in sickness. And I am beginning with this point because it shows that there's a risk. I'm not saying concrete measure because everything in Patra is subject to the change. It is subject to the prayer. The reason we read Patra is to change it. The reason we read these things is so that we can have some positive impact. I read Vipatra and I'm saying I have sickness to pass, I have financial problems to pass, I'm going to do positive karma, I'm going to do charity, I'm going to do prayer, and I'm going to by that positive, by that I am in control, dear God, change my destiny. Praschit karma. I am going to do repentance, prayer, goodly things, so that I can see the change. So if somebody says, well, it looks like doom and gloom, it might look gloomy. But if you move in the right way, if you take hold of your destiny, meaning to say, you could get rid of that doom. Let's continue. The month of Vaishak is upon us. The Hindu month of Vaishak started on the 1st, the dark half, from the 1st to the 11th, and now from the 12th to the 26th, this holy month is here. Why is this month so holy? Amongst other things, one of the reasons this month is holy, this is the time when Lord Vishnu had destroyed two characters, Madhu and Kaitav. For this reason, Lord Vishnu gained the name Madhu Sudana, because he was, Sudana means the destroyer of Madhu. Madhu was a great devotee. He prayed to Brahma. And when Lord Vishnu he was asleep at the time, Chaturmas, or the time when he's resting, was coming and he was dozing off. And Lakshmi Mata has to wake him up. And he fights these two in this time. So it is in commemoration of this time, this month is here. And during this month, great amount of benefit, great amount of good would come from it. As I said, by doing positive karma, we will negate the negative karma. So Baba, what's the big deal about the negative karma? The negative karma, why do bad things tonight as you are looking on? Why do bad things happen to good people? We're hearing this person is sick, that person is sick. Why do bad things happen to good people? As Hindus, the explanation, karma. Unfortunate, as cool as that sounds, as bad as it sounds, karma. So what we are left with, when you realize things are not going your way, you get into the habit of doing good karma so that we can counterbalance, counteract, deflect the punishment that negative karma brings to a person. Remember again, I'm saying, karma explains your existence. It explains what is happening in front of you. It explains the punishment. But when a person does the corrective type, I'm using English words, the repenting, the praschit, dear God, I made a mistake, please forgive me. When a person does these things, this is where you can have the change that you are looking for. People banter about the word called karma. Let's use karma and imagine like an umbrella. Karma is like the umbrella. I'm saying it again. But under the umbrella, there are different branches of karma, subdivided. Prarabdha karma, one example, is the part or the karma that says God made you a brother, a sister, a wife, a husband. The different roles. You will have daughters, you will have sons, and the joy that comes from the girl or the joy that comes from the son. You will have money, you will have no money. You will have a job, no job, etc. Prarabdha karma. The gifts that God would have predestined, given you. So that these things also are as a result of your past karma. So, I according to Garupran, I went to court and I saw the guy, but I said he killed the person, but I didn't see that. It was a lie. In the next life, the person is going to be born with eyes that don't work. Because, brothers and sisters, if we follow the thinking, we are made in the image of God. Where was God when people are born without legs or without eyes or without fingers or without some mental ability? Was it a mistake? Are these people mistakes? No. These things are explained by the law of karma. We are fighting karma. We are seeing a plague amongst the human race and people are getting sick. And instead of doing all sorts of things that have no effect, fighting, breaking the law, etc., the Hindu fights the karma. In Vaishak Yamraj, in Skand Puran, he talks about the value of this month for the removal of sin. When the sun is leaving Aries going into Taurus, he says, "O Brahman," as he's talking to this person who was listening to the month, to the Vaishak Mahatyam, this section in this book called Skand Puran. He says the person has to do what they must to wash away the evils, the past sins, to get rid of these things. And how you do it? It begins with holy bath. Simple as a holy bath. And I want to use this opportunity to touch on one or two things that we're seeing in media today. One video that is being bantered about, people are laughing at our people for taking gobar, and you saw them in little videos trying to scrub their skin. And in the video, the person is saying there's no scientific value to this thing. Brothers and sisters, in Padma Puran and different texts, it tells you the value of smearing any place where Mahavishnu is going to be worshipped with the gobar of Gaumata. We are not looking for scientific proof, but this is spiritual benefit. In this month of Vaishak, doctors and educated people in India and throughout this world know the value of holy bath. People who can't visit Ganga Mata, Yamuna Mata and other places, they take gobar and they scrub, they massage the skin. Not only gobar, but other things are used. Have you ever gone to a wedding on a Sunday morning, you see them bathed with milk and dahi? When the girl or the boy is getting married on the Friday, have you ever seen them massage the skin with hardi and they put a little bit of ghee, the cow ghee, in it and they massage the skin? Different ways to remove different element of spiritual, karmic, unclean, past loads of sin. When the boy is tying janev, same thing. Bath before the janev is applied to the person. During this month of Vaishak, the holy bath is one of the most important things. Let's enter into our first slok. Shrudev is speaking and he is describing in our first slok here tonight. Shiva Om Shakti Om Hari Om Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Vaishak Masik Prishtayatva Akshaya Tritiya Shrunuyatam Narad Shloka Ye Prathya Vishwayate Vaishakayatam Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Mo Namah Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Those people that wish to rid themselves of sins, O Narad, they should get up early in the morning when the sun is coming up, and in this way go and have a bath. If the person be allowed to visit the bank of holy rivers or any river, or if that is not possible, let the person go to the ocean. If that is not possible, let them in their place outside have bath. If that is not possible, when they are having bath in their space, let's say the person is sick, let's say the person is limited in movement, let's say the person cannot take the weather outside for whatever reason, this person is going to have bath and using Gayatri mantra, pass this water upon their body. This is the first step. Now, in my preparation for tonight, I wanted to send out for those people that could get Ganga Jal, Puja store, these people sell these things. But I did not want, because of the restrictions in different parts of the world, I did not want to encourage people to go outside. So I did not advise it. If you have at home, use it as part of your ritual in the morning. If you don't, put til, a tulsi, if you have a piece of kush grass, if you just have the water. And using Gayatri mantra, massage the body. Massage the body, this is after you soap up and rinse and everything is done. The last part we are going to rinse now. Om Bhura Bhuvaswa Tat Savitur Varenyam. And you continue as you wash your body spiritually. This is where, when people do different type of shraddha, different type of puja, you will see them bathe not only with milk, dahi, ghee, the gobar, but also gaumutra or the urine of the cow. So when we are busy laughing at our own people because of the ignorance we have about this month of Vaishak. These are people that are at risk. They know the risk of the virus. Obviously, they are facing higher numbers. The rate of spread in Trinidad is higher, but they're still at risk. And these doctors are trying to protect themselves with their faith, with their belief. And you and I, who know less about our dharma, are laughing at these people. If we only knew, if we could only tap into what they know and have and harbor such faith. How many Hindus here looking on, be honest with yourself, would even touch gobar? Gau Mata, cow is mother. The cow is paramount in Hinduism. But the gobar which is smeared on all altars, how many of us, be honest here tonight with yourself, would Baba ka put mahana bag and liperi beri, Baba, I have to touch that? And you scorn what you believe in. Other religion, other people that are attacking our religion currently, using and capitalizing on this movement in India and all around the world, are talking about how the bacteria coming out of the gut of the cow, how this is bad. But going back many years, having bathed spiritually with all the products, not only gobar, all the products of the cow have always been a sin removing, cleansing, not only physical but spiritual cleansing rite that we have used. If anybody says, I believe in bathing in Ganga Mata, because Ganga at one point she is believed in the discourse, she is originating from the foot of Lord Vishnu. And this is why when tomorrow we are doing puja, we have to worship Ganga Mata. All well. But equivalent to that Ganga puja is the worship of the product that comes from the cow. This is why in all puja, we have to use milk and dahi and ghee and all these things. Which berry is complete without that gobar being smeared? It is unfortunate how the Hindu breaks their own. Tonight I call upon you and I beg you, please don't do that. If there is something for us to learn, that's fine. If there's a question for us to ask, why are they doing that, Baba? Is there a reason they're doing that? Is there a significance? Maybe we need to ask these questions. But please, we have been eroded enough. Another example, the second video, a journalist from another faith is reporting how many Hindus are discarding their murtis, and Hindu people are sharing it, maybe because they're so hurt. They couldn't stand to see what was being said. Firstly, forget the boy who is reading the news. He's just doing his job. He's a journalist and maybe that is what he saw. First of all, if a Hindu had said it, would the journalist be the problem? No, I don't think so. The problem is that we are seeing murtis being discarded in a very hurtful way. That's what happens when you have millions of people, everybody wanting their own murti for Ganesh Utsav. Look at the video. That was old footage. That is not now. In my opinion, if it were me losing a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old or your mother or your father, wouldn't you be fair with me here tonight, devotees? Wouldn't you forget your religion? Wouldn't you ask, dear God, why is this happening to my child? Why is this happening to my child? Did anybody say, why is this happening to the Hindu child? Is it only happening to the Hindu? With all the numbers that are being recorded throughout this world, are they saying it is only the Hindu that is dying, or the Muslim that is dying, or the Christian that is dying? The human is dying. And anybody in that painful moment would cry out. The first, in the stages of grief, anger is one of those stages. And people get hurt. So the first thing I'm saying is, if it were me and you, maybe, let's leave that maybe there. maybe in a moment, we'd ask God, why this happening? Why this have to happen to me? Maybe that happened. So maybe the reporter is being truthful, first of all. And that just simply shows that you and I have to be careful, because me and you could be in that position one day. Me and you could be in that moment of test when we lose a loved one, a dear one, and we start to ask, dear God, is my fate for nothing? Look, this person died. How? Can that only happen to Hindu? Will that only happen to one group in this whole world? I don't think so. From my conversation and many other people, friends from Noida, from Uttar Pradesh, from all over, people are holding to their prayer. The Hindu has within them imbibed, especially those that are embedded with faith. When the doctors fail, when the system fail, when the government fail, when money isn't there, when oxygen isn't there, when everything is lost, who do you turn to? What do you do? Then is where you see a person hold to their faith, if they weren't doing it before. I don't know if it's different with you. I accept that. I'm asking you tonight, what would you do? Fast forward yourself from the comfort you're in right now to a moment of distress. Your loved one, your dear one needs air. Help me, please, help me, please, help me. Daddy, mommy, help me, please. What would you do? You get angry, yes. You get angry at the doctors, they're not coming. You get angry at the nurses, they're not coming. You get angry at the ambulance, they're not coming. You get angry because you can't get the vaccine, they're not coming. You get angry because they're too poor to pay for some of the amenities other people can pay for. Yes, I agree. But when nothing is working, there, in that moment, dear God, please help me. Prabhu, please help me, please come. I'm in trouble. Dear God, if you save this child, dear God, if you spare this one, I promise, dear God, I will change. From my conversation with our Hindu brothers in India, sisters, not all parts of India are in trouble, as it is being reported in some outlets. It's not all. But the situation is bad when you compare the volume, when you hear the figures, it's scary. But you think for yourself, if it were you, would you throw away your faith when you need it most? As I said, that footage is old footage from a few years ago. Ganesh Utsav had now done. Naratam had now done, and people had put on the bank in Haridwar and other religious parts where the river Ganga runs. They're like pavements on the side where they had made channels for the river to come, where they could manage for people to touch and do arti and so on. For those of you that gone on tour, those of you that live there, you know what I'm talking about. And they put on the steps, they put murtis, and it is so much that maybe it is handled wrong. I'm accepting that, because it was harsh to see the way they threw the murti and they pushed the murti and all that. But that is what it was. This time, people are not throwing away their feet. Are you? Be careful. This month of Vaishak is a month where people harness, they use this month. This is the month where Mahavishnu saves the universe. And another example, Shrudev says the person, when they do this bath, they get up and they use the opportunity to worship Mahavishnu. They do his puja. During this time, this month, Tarpan, Shrad, chanting of his Ashtakam, stotras, passages, reading of his discourses, these things are done. And what is the benefit, Guruji? The benefit is that when you have a mountain of sin. Now in the text here given in Skand Puran, Book 7, Vaishnav Khan, as well as the Vaishak Mahatyam. I'm reading from chapter 23, which is dealing with the Akshaya Tritiya. In this here, I'm saying this now, it talks about the individual sin, the one who killed the Brahman, the one who shoot the mother and the father, this type of thing. I don't want to individualize the sin, because then it says, okay, the thought for maybe a lesser mind, I could do that and I'll just go and have a bath tomorrow and we'll get rid of it. So, for the purpose of removing sin, whatever sin is, different type of sin, all sin, people worship during this month. People listen to discourses of how Lord Vishnu had become Madhusudana, Hayagriv. For the purpose of our training, I am focusing on the Hayagriv discourse, and that is going to be done tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. early in the morning, based on what we are guided here to do. I will be on live on Facebook, guiding you with Vishnu Puja. For those of you in your home and you're afraid to come outside, I know God children, for example, in Trinidad, in Alto Trace, in Pinal, different places, all the neighbors have it. Freeport, in different places. Everybody around has it, so we are afraid to step outside. I remember those days talking to people in New York, in Queens, in London, and different places. We fought it before and we'll fight it again. And God bless, I'm saying it again, God bless those civil servants that are making the difference. When Vishnu Puja is going to be done in the morning, Tarpan offerings are going to be done, Havan with special mantra, and we are going to do, I'm doing one verse tonight, and I'll share it on the WhatsApp group, the Sudarshan Ashtakam, which is specific for disease. It is prayer for the removal, for fighting. Our discourse tonight is focusing on fighting disease, sickness. Akshaya means that inexhaustible, that day that brings about a great amount of sin removing blessing. Mahaguru, please tell us what is the history of this day? Why is Akshaya Tritiya so great? Why is it so focused on salvation and all these other things? Could you please tell us? Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Vaishak Masa Akshaya Tritiya Tata Tvayascha Vishwadev Bali Purandaraya Lakhiyatva Shrutu Devu Vacham Ye Sat Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatma Namo Namah. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatma Namo Namah. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. At one time, you remember we had the person named Prahlad. Prahlad, his father Hiranyakashipu, caused the nursing avatar of Mahavishnu. And Prahlad has a son by the name of Virochan. Virochan has a son by the name of Bali. Bali is the grandson of Prahlad. Bali is now the king of the Daityas, what we in English would call the demons, the bad ones. And at one time, after doing great amount of prayer, that said Bali, he attacks Indra and they fight. And in that battle, Bali wins Indra. And he forces Indra to leave Patal, where Bali is ruling. And Indra, as he's running from Patal, goes upon the earth. And upon Mrityalok, he goes to the hermitage of Uttya. This is the brother of the person known as Brihaspati, the guide of the Devatas. This is his brother. That place is his ashram. And Indra went there in this place to gain rest, to compose himself before he went back to fight. Great amount of detail Shrudev is given about the peacefulness, the beauty of this place. How calm, how beautiful the flowers are, the trees are majestic. Very cool place. Guruji says, and in this moment, the fall of Indra is happening without Indra knowing it. The Guru Uttya of this ashram, the Guru Mai, is very pregnant. She is full in pregnancy. Her body is belabored with the child. Her walk is very slow. And this individual Indra is attracted to her. Full in her feminine glow, Guruji is saying, her body is decorated with flowers. And in this way, Indra goes to speak to her. Let's hear what happens as he goes to talk to her. Jai Bhole Baba Tav Sharanam, 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 Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tav Sharanam, Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tav Sharanam. Karishyatva Pundaryatam Ye Maya Janam Ye Harita Bhyata Evam Vyanina Bharani Te Purandaryatam Jai Bhole Baba Tav Sharanam Jai Bhole Baba Tav Sharanam Jai Bhole Baba Tav Sharanam Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tav Sharanam Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tav Sharanam. Umapati Mahadeva ki Jai. Having the tilak of the half crescent moon on her body, this mother wore all forms of protection. When pregnant girls are being watched and gawked at, and that what we call Badai, Malju, Najar, however you know it, there's yantra that we tie in red cloth on their arm, and if there's risk of miscarriage, if nobody never discussed this, please remember these things. My number would be listed below. if there's a problem, please feel free to reach out. When there's a risk of spotting or miscarriage in Hinduism, there is yantra that we tie under the belly to hold what is inside, keep it inside. Many times people use these in conjunction. Of course, we are using this in conjunction with all the OB or your gynecologist advice and medication and everything, depending on your situation. But just like in everything, in our wedding, we have the legal portion and then we have the prayers portion. They work in harmony together to give the person the best situation. And likewise, in the pregnancy, together with all the medical advice and all the Lama's class and all the breathing activity and everything that is viable and correct, there's also prayers suitable for that time. Together in tandem, they give the parent the best time being pregnant, and then the child that is coming from the mother, according to Gurupran and other texts, the child is of a different quality, divine, angelic, healthy, mentally, physically, perfect. God bless these children. This mother had these type of guard upon her body, wearing Ketaki flowers. Ketaki flowers is that flowers that is not supposed to use in Lord Shiva puja, but is used in Vishnu puja. She was a devotee. She was a person that was pleased by the scent of jasmine flowers, would offer white jasmine flowers to Lord Vishnu, and she prayed for that protection of her pregnancy. Indra, becoming enamored, becoming very attracted to this form, becoming very tamasic, he goes and he accosts her and he touched her in a very inappropriate way. Very inappropriate. He raped her. The child within her body, Guruji says the fetus uses his foot to reject the body of Indra. And Indra becomes angry. He gives shrap. This is a different type of discourse. Please pay attention. He gives shrap to the fetus that you, because of this insult, you will be born without the ability of sight. For this reason, because of this, when the girl is in the 8th month of pregnancy, when the Shashti Puja is being done, there's a part where the mother or the mother-in-law will arati the belly. Private thing now. They take her one side, they expose the top of the belly, they put a tikka, and they arati the belly to welcome the child. Because the child at that time, according to the books that guide the development of the child, that time the child knows what is happening. And we are praying, dear God, please allow the child to remain for the full term of pregnancy. Don't let premature birth come. As you all know, 8-month children sometimes don't live too long. They have breathing problems and sometimes miraculously, surprisingly, they die. Dirgha Tapas is the person who is that child. He's the unborn child now. But one day he'll be born, and he really did born without sight. But he's born with other gifts that would be revealed as he grows. In this moment, this poor woman, the woman is the victim here. She puts shrap. Let's hear what happens. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah Ya
Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti
Rupena Samstita Mamata karshyeyatam Shrapya Purandara Munisharatam Shrutu Devyamta Devadayeta Pasyena Shritam Sarayate Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namam. Mamata is the name of this one, of this lady, this pregnant woman. Guruji says she remained there like a damaged deer, not knowing what is going to happen, worried, pained, being Guruji is speaking, Skanparan is saying, not Pandit Keshava. This act, this vile act that sinful people carry out is a painful act against the victim. On a normal circumstance, imagine how much more for a pregnant person. Mamata lying on the ground, holding her belly and praying to Mahavishnu, called for punishment. Punishment. What did I do, Prabhu? What did I do to attract this evil, this shrap, this sin? Mahavishnu would appear to her, bless her with the removal of the pain, and bless her that her child would remain healthy and would be born with gifts. He would have, as I said, great roles to play later on in life. And he revealed to her the value that he would add, the son would add. And Mamta knew that all would be right. But then she says, what about that vile Tritiya? That vile Tritiya. Rape is wrong. That vile individual who would take advantage of me or any person, but more so a pregnant person. Mahavishnu, punish him. Mahavishnu gives a pronouncement that because his mind harbored such thoughts, he will be robbed of all the knowledge, all the spiritual knowledge. All as a king, he will not know anything, and he would be lost. Because he acted without any type of thinking or balance or sensible behavior, because he was lost in tamasic behavior and thinking, not knowing what is the right thing to be done, what is the right thing to do, and what is not to be done, based on what is written in Gita. Let him exist, and let him exist in ignorance. Let him lose all the luster, all the knowledge, all that he has, until such time that karma will be worked out. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki Jai. Karma is gained. Our actor tonight is Indra. Don't get tangled up too much in the story. But see a person, Indra, do something very bad, very bad. And now bad karma is coming to him. The wish, the shrap that people pronounce every day, you see, he go pay for that. God is the judge. Bear in mind, God is the judge. What we account for, Garibran says, what we account for is what we do with our hands, with our mouth, with our thoughts, Hence we offer white till, black till, brown till. Dear God, forgive me for the thoughts that I had. If they were bad, forgive me. Dear God, forgive me for the actions that I did. If they were bad, forgive me. White till. Dear God, forgive me for the speech, the talks, the words, the things that I uttered. If they were bad, forgive me. What you have done. That is the karma that you have to worry about. So Indra has gained all this. And what does he do? Realizing that all, when you look at a religious picture, how you see all the light glowing, the aura growing around these divine individuals, showing, illustrating the positive energy, the godliness, let's say godliness. Realizing now that luster is lost. He loses his color, his energy. He forgets all that he had, all the knowledge, all the different art of wars, political science, all these different things. It is as if he knew something, but he does not know it anymore. He goes into hiding. He's ashamed. And he's concealing himself in the mountain Meru. Hiding there out of shame. All the devatas, the people that depend on him, Agni, Vayu, Akash, all of them from the different directions, Kubir, all of them are looking for their leader. Why? Because Bali, the one who is called the demon, he is praying stronger and stronger. He took Patal. He is attacking the heavenly lok, and he's coming after them with all force. And where is our leader? He's hiding in a cave. And we need him to stand up with us. Let us go and get him. They come and they find him. And when they find him, he's sitting in a corner hiding in shadows. And they don't know what to do. They go quickly to Brihaspati. And they tell Brihaspati, we saw him. But we're not sure if that is our leader. What is happening? What is causing all this different kind of scenario with Indra? Could you please tell us? And this is what Guruji started to tell them. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah Ve Bhaktaye Madhan Data Ye Sachinath Rastalam Rastala Shrunu Bhaliyatam Shlokan Vaibhavan Vayate Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah. Shri Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki Jai, Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai. Devotees, as we continue in our explanation, let me use this opportunity to tell you, please share the satsang so that other people can learn the value of this time. Please leave me a comment letting me know where you're viewing from, who you are. Please send me your questions and your comments. Please don't forget. As we continue, he says, Guruji is saying, when Bali came to Rasatal, the netherworlds, the lower regions, Patal, etc., Indra ran to the hermitage of Uttya, that is my brother. Mamta is there, that is his wife, and all the disciples. And he is ashamed to return to Swargalok, or the heavenly regions, because of what he had done. He, without thinking, has committed a shameful act against this woman, against his mother. And now he is hiding in the mount of Meru. O Agni, O Vayu, all of you, go to him and help him. Because without his leadership, without him, we are going to lose in the battle against Bali. And if we lose, if all the devatas are lost, then all life without the proper guidance of the rising of the sun, protection of the different north, east, west, etc., without the normal balance that exists in the universe, all forms of destruction is on the horizon. Problems for all forms of life, difficulty. He did not think about all these things, and for that he's being punished. Devendra, another name for Indra, Devendra is the destroyer of the enemy. He's the suppressor of the enemy. But now he has become like a cobra that has lost the intellect, like a person that has lost their senses. They have no luster. He has no twinkle in his eyes. Now, full of sadness, remorse, he's just sitting there out of shame. This universe depends on this thing called karma. Honor, dishonor, happiness, misery, profit, loss, victory, defeat. All these things are accorded to based on a person's past karma. When a person, just as Indra did, does negative, does those types of activities that bring about negative karma, then when a person is in this life, given birth, given the opportunity to enjoy their karma, sometimes their fate is very difficult. Their fate is full with pain, unhappiness, disease, sickness, misery, loss. The person will lament, why can't I be happy? Why can't I gain? Why can't my business make? Why can't my garden grow? The person without any benefit will lament, will complain, will carry news, will try all how to do what they could do to change their karma, except the correcting. Except those type of activities, devatas, that will make a meaningful change in their karma. That one who is known as Maghavan, Indra, he is lamented. He is in the depths of the misery because of what he is existing, what he is going through right now. His parabdha karma is very bad. He has lost everything. And he is feeling very guilty. He is feeling very shameful. He is feeling lost. But all the feelings, all the tears, all the bewilderment, devatas, my dear children, my dear Shishya, none of it will help Indra. Let's pause here for a second. Sounding familiar? So the actor in the TV, Indra, did bad. Did bad. He did bad. There's no argument. He did bad. And he incurred bad karma. So now in his existence, in his present, he is very lost. His body is paining. He is described as having no energy. He is sick. He is without knowledge. He doesn't know which way to turn, how to find help, how to get out of the problem. And this is where we find ourselves sometimes. For all the business people throughout this world, when you look at your business, when you're looking at your savings and it is just dwindling, who do you blame? It would be nice if you could blame somebody. It would be nice if we could hold somebody accountable and say, this person is the cause of all my trouble. Take this person to task and then I will be able to get justice. But that is not working. Arguably, if for every government there's an election and that is the voice of the people, if a person is not given the trust or the opportunity to serve, then they don't win the election. But if the person wins the election, that is the opportunity to make the change. But when in your life you look at it, your existence right now in the business community, it is as if it is hopeless. There's nothing I could do. There is no hope for me. I don't know if these things will be able to recover. I don't know if I'll get it back. I don't know where do we go from here. In last week's Satsangh, when I was talking, I spoke how there are vampires amongst us in the form of the bankers. In Trinidad at least, we have all these people losing their jobs. So many people have loans and credit cards. Who gave them the credit card? Who dropped the limit and says you qualify for a loan? You know how many times they call me on the phone, Mr. Gosine, we have a loan for you. You want it, Mr. Gosine, you have a loan. And they want to give and give and give, and they encourage, but there's no training for management of credit. We go to school for maths and English, we go to school for that. But here somebody's trying to, like if it is cocaine or crack, here, credit card, buy. Amazon, it's there, buy. But there's no training to say, listen, everything in moderation, there needs to be control. You need to know how credit works and the interest system for the credit card works. And don't spend, don't live beyond your means, because there comes a day when you might have to pay it. Can you pay it? I agree, each person is accountable for their action when they swipe the card. I agree. But the person didn't cause a pandemic. The person did not close all the businesses and tell everybody stay home. Where is the vampire that is saying, you know what? We will give you a break. I spoke about the bank. And I think in this country there needs to be a referendum when it comes to the treatment of banks and their customers. We are like sheep that they suck the blood out of when they get the opportunity. And I said last week, look at the treatment. In other countries, they offer you a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or at least a seat. You could be a hard case and go into the bank, and if you fall, you fall. If you mess yourself because there's no toilet there. Although in parliamentary minutes there was a motion that was moved so that banks would install toilets for their customers. But yet still, people in Trinidad bank system are told, go to KFC, go by the store next door. We don't have that here for you. It is amazing. The person feels as if they are helpless. What can I do? I have no control. Who do I blame? Who to blame? The Hindu. After you go through that, because that is your process. Being angry is your right. Being hurt is your right. You alone know what you have and how you value it, how hard you work for it. In the example of a business, I'm not touching on outside. There's school, there's relationships, people who they have loved ones abroad. It have all these different aspects. People who could go for treatment and better care abroad, but they can't leave the country. There are all these aspects and more. But it is as if you are in a corner and what can I do? And all as a pundit, all I am saying is, as a Hindu, we get very focused and we start to attack our karma. That is all you can do. That is the only thing. But to do it, it requires faith. Like Indra, many people are bewildered. What is going to happen next? What is going to happen? How are we going to get out of this? What is going to happen? Suppose now we're talking about the loss of a loved one, the loss of a relative, the loss of a beloved. How are we going to heal? Indra is in such a position. How do I take back what I did? How do I repent? How do I purify my reputation? How do I get back my strength? I can't even fight. How do I get back the power of the mantras, the siddhi? How do I get back the scriptural knowledge? All the things that I had gained. When they go, after making their plan, they go in front of him and they beg him, please pick up yourself and help us overcome our battles. You are our leader and we are begging you to lead. He says, because of the grievous sin, because I came into contact with another man's wife, because I raped her, because I was wrong, I wronged that woman. My strength, my vigor, my reputation, my power over mantra, my power over scripture, my power over weapons, my power on the whole, I have lost it all. Listening to the plight of this personality, Guruji Brihaspati starts to speak to him. He says, there is this month called Vaishak. He says, listen, and if you use this time properly, it will help you. Let's hear what he says in this verse. Jai Bhole Baba Tav Sharanam, Jai Bhole Baba Tav Sharanam, Jai Bhole Baba Tav Sharanam, Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tav Sharanam, Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tav Sharanam, Indra He Taraye Datta, Vaishak Mahatyam Ye Padaha, Yad Tan Shrunuye Shrudu Devyam, Shlokan Vishnu Puja Vidhi, Jai Bhole Baba Tav Sharanam, 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 Jai Samba Sada Shiva
Tav Sharanam,
Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tav Sharanam, Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tav Sharanam. He says, there is this month called Vaishak, and it is a favorite of Lord Vishnu. Mahavishnu, who is referred to as Madhusudana, when it was the 11th, 12th and 13th day in that month, in the bright half that is to come still, as we are approaching the full moon, he says on those days in previous, he had fought and destroyed Madhu and Kaitab. For this reason, he is called Madhusudana. This is a favorite month of that form that is referred to as Madhav. In this month, there is the third day, Tritiya. Tritiya means in the lunar fortnight, the third day. On this Tritiya day, it is referred to as Akshaya. Akshaya means inexhaustible, favorite, greatest day of Mahavishnu. If a person performs holy bath, gives charitable gifts, appropriate gifts, with faith, thousands of sins, the worst type of sins, whatever a person commit, these things, without doubt, these things would be burnt away. What type of sin am I referring to, O Indra? And this is what I'm saying right here. He starts to describe some very heinous crimes. Murder, rape, abortion, not feeding children, cheating, causing discord amongst family members, causing lying, causing other people to be punished in the court for no reason. He says, with strength and courage for the attainment of benefit, O Indra, go and do what I instruct you to do. On this morning of the Akshaya Tritiya, wake up early and go and have your holy bath, and you will regain vidya, mantra, scriptural knowledge, strength, bal, buddhi, vidya, all these different things are going to come back to you. Verse 46, chapter 23, volume 7, Skand Puran. After giving him all these things, Indra makes all preparation and he goes now to have his bath. In his case, he goes to the bank of the Ganga. And in the morning, like tomorrow, he's going to bathe. Snan or purification is very important in Hinduism. When you see people are washing hands with the water 3 times, it is simulating bath. When we go to funeral, we come home, we sprinkle water to simulate bath. Babaji, when he comes home from reading in a, let's say, as I say, dead house, before we come home, we have to bathe outside and change the janeeu. Constantly. Wedding, funeral, janeeu, the first cutting of the hair. When the child is 1 year old and we do Mundan Sanskar, bathe the child. When the boy in the air is around the third year for the first time, afterwards bathe the child. In most instances, some form of bath is necessary. Depending on what type of sin, you will hear a little bit about that tomorrow, of what to bathe with. So that after you do the puja tomorrow morning, in the evening time, we'll describe tomorrow when we're talking about the Hayagri form. This is for many people who had asked me, I was supposed to read Madhu Sudana discourse, where he destroys Madhu, but that's a very simple discourse. Lord Vishnu holds on to these 2 guys and he kills them in his lap, more or less. But it is in the early part of time. This is before Narsingh, before the Ram, the Krishna, all these things. The Hayagri form is the horse form, the horse head. In the little invite at the bottom, some people thought it was Ganesh Baba, but Hayagri is a form of Lord Vishnu where he has a horse head. You see it in different pictures. One common place that you see him, when you have Hanuman Baba with the 5 head, watch carefully. One of the head is this Hayagri form. So I'm using tomorrow as an opportunity to educate you on that, to give you that discourse. That also is contained in Padma Puran. And we will hear about that horse head, and you will also hear about why. You ever notice when puja finish, how you see ants come in and getting on the altar or wrong? How come ants does always come? Where these ants be coming from? There's a Hindu rule about that. Tomorrow morning we'll do that. Doing puja tomorrow, the first thing for most of us that are not able to go to the river or go to a place like the Yamuna, Ganga, etc. Even those in India, they are under restriction from going to do these type of tira. So, for those people who could be in the vicinity of the Ganga, in the hotel, the water that is flowing in the hotel is Ganges water, so they bathe with that. But if you have Ganga water at home in your bottle from puja, whatever you have, you can use that as one. People use Yamuna, Kaveri, if you could get that water. Different type of water that people sell throughout this world. If you have it, I'm saying you can use it. What water you have, add different till if you have it. The till, as I said, brown, black and white, remove the sin of your mind, your speech and your actions. And using maybe a tulsi leaf if you have it. Some people may not have the kush grass. If you have it, put a little piece. And using Gayatri mantra at a minimum, using your Vishnu prayer. If you know things like the Narayan Suktam, all these things, you can get it on YouTube and let it play whilst you're scrubbing your skin. And what are you praying for? Dear God, like Indra, I have done. It's just we don't know. Tonight we are this, do you know how many people say, Baba, that is such a bad thing. That is such a heinous crime, and I would be the first to tell you, yes, you're correct. But The difference between Indra and you and I is we just don't know what sin we do in we past. Tonight we're reading about history. So it sounded very nasty, very bad. But if you are seeing bad things in your life now, don't feel bad things happen to good people just so. Financial problem, health problem, family problem. They are a result of wrong. We are all sinners. If we had been saintly people, we would have been in Vaikuntha with Prabhu. We all have that burden of sin. And my question to you is, what are you doing to unburden yourself so that you don't get the punishment and sickness and trouble that is coming? Remember we talk about the Vrish Sankranti. When the sun goes from Aries into Taurus, there's a heightened chance that the numbers of COVID or the spreading of plague could shoot up. That is there. What are you doing? So one of the things that we can do is get up in the morning and bathe with these articles. If a person have dahi, if a person have milk, if a person have gobar, all these things can be used to scrub the body, to remove different type of sin, different type of activities that we would have done. The one bathing with gobar in particular, that is the bath that removes heinous type of sin in the past, where you cause harm to young children, where you break the hope of young children, or hope on the whole. You discourage people. Mommy, you feel like a thing? No, you just sound stupid. When you hurt somebody, how you find a look? You look real ugly, boy. And you break that person's heart, believe it or not. That type of insult, that type of pain carries for every action, there's an equal reaction. When you hurt, when you insult, when you harm somebody, there's going to be a cost. Sickness is one of the ways that cost comes to count. The person using gobar to scrub from Gau Mata, and they're scrubbing their body, and what they're doing in conjunction with it, they are chanting Gayatri mantra. Normal Om Bhurbo Aswa Tat Savitar Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat, and you're rubbing their body. Madam, you please purify me. In the month of Vaishak, on the day of Akshaya Tritiya, this removes the worst type of sin. The sins of your past are destroyed. Just as Rahu, in 2 weeks' time, we're going to have our first eclipse. Rahu will gobble up the moon, as it were, for the eclipse to happen, lunar eclipse. He says, in the same way, these type of activities, as simple as it is, brings about great amount of change in a person's life. Secondly, the person now is going to do worship on behalf of the Pitras. So in the morning, after we do Murti Puja and so on with Lord Vishnu, and you will be viewing, and I'm inviting everybody, if you have your Vishnu, your Shaligram at home, you can join with me, prep yourself, prepare in the simplest way, whatever you have. If you just water yourself, if you have milk to bathe your Shaligram or your Mahavishnu, all of that is fine. Again, I did not want to preempt or prompt anybody to encourage anybody to go outside to get things. I did not want to be misunderstood. So tonight, just for tomorrow morning, as I said, in the morning is 7 a.m. If you have a flower, if you have a tulsi or not, just by bowing is fine. If just water is fine. I will have stuff and you will view with me, and together we could worship your Lord Vishnu. Further to that, I will be offering tarpan with my own hand, me and Mommy Baba, as we pray for ourselves too. You see, too often, Pandits guide, but they don't practice. The sadhana, the vrat, the different types of... When you know something, when you practice it and you know it, then you can advise. Imagine I went to school to learn mechanic to fix car. But because I could fix car, I feel I could tell you how to take tablet. And without training, proper training, I can make a mistake and tell you to do the wrong thing. But when I master the art of fixing the car and I tell you, you know what, that's sounding like you need to turn that screw 2 times to the left and lift that valve to the east, that mastering of that, then you could speak with that authority. For that reason, you would find that I am sometimes involved in the prayers and I'm with you and we're doing it together. So there's no problem in you joining me when we're doing all the tarpan. When we are calling the various names for your father, for your mother, for your brother, for your cousin, as I'm offering the prayer, as I'm making the offerings on the kush grass, tomorrow be viewing 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Be with me and use the opportunity in real time. As if your father has passed away, call his name. Because of how many people might be viewing, I can't call the individual name. But you say your prayer with me, Shripiyantam, and we're going to say the full mantra together and make offerings in the right direction, in the right mudra, the hand gesture for the different sage, devatas, and pitras. He says, when you do this, because of the possibility of your karma, your bad, interfering with those individuals, your pitras, those that are attached to you. When you do good, one good person uplifts 7 generations, 3 on your father, 4 on your mother's side. And tomorrow, for those of you that would be able, that have the karma, that have the blessing to view it, you will see when you're offering the third one, Nana, Nana father, Nana grandfather, Nana great grandfather, and we'll be calling all these people. Have you ever done Shrad? Have you ever done Tarpan to that extent? On behalf of the person who has committed suicide, have died in accident, childbirth, animals, pets, etc. Tomorrow is a morning for that because we want to help them. Further to that, Indra, some, depending on the nature of the family, might have to do Shrad, where Pindadan, Sapindadan would be offered if somebody has died under nefarious reasons, where people harm, where people do bad to their family and cause premature death. Those things do exist. When you hear Indra was knowledgeable of the weapons, not all weapons are bow and arrows. Some weapons can be used to damage a person, weaken a person, so that sickness will take hold of their body and they die. That is there. Other religions use it. And sometimes when people die, and I didn't know he would have died, I didn't expect this person to die, those people need to do special rites to shanti the soul, so that the person is going to be at peace and the family is able to recover in time and recuperate. Listening to all this chakra, or another name for Indra, he's listening. And what he did was he did the bath and then he did the Vishnu puja and he chanted something called Sudarshan Ashtakam. He listened to the Madhusudana discourse. Please clasp your hands. We're going to do one verse of the Sudarshan Ashtakam. Tomorrow we'll do the whole thing. Bhuvana netra trahi maya savanti te jastraye maya niravadhi swayadu chinmaya nikila shaktya jagan maya amitaveshva kriya maya Samita Vishwa Vaga Bhaya Maya Jai Jai Shri Sudarshana Jai Jai Shri Sudarshana. Shri Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai. O Lord Sudarshana, another name for Lord Vishnu. You are the form of the three Ved. You are the form of the three fires. Griha Agni, Avyavad Agni, Dakshana Agni. All of these are you, O delectable form of knowledge, O power that you allow every person to do good, you allow the person to do any deed, good or bad. You have taken form in this universe time and time again. You are worshipped in every yagya by your devotee. Please, because of the worship that we are doing this morning, in the morning when we're reading this part, please destroy the fears. Please destroy the disease of those that are worshipping you. From all direction, whichever direction those disease or fear comes, O Lord Sudarshan, O Lord of auspicious qualities, we bow to you. Jai Jai Sri Sudarshan Devta ki Jai. Prabhu Shanam Patvam Vikantam Ye Pranitam Vishampe Manorat Pradavan Navinayate. Those who recite this stotra, consisting of 8 verses, in praise of Mahavishnu in that name Sudarshan, comprehending the depth of the glory of the Lord, will have fulfillment of whatever they wish. The boon-granting Lord of Lord Sudarshan will make them realize all their wishes will come. All their prayers will come to pass. All the obstacles that they are facing, they will overcome, whatever they be. Prem Sabolo Shri Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai. So for the person, and the only reason I read this tonight, this one verse, tomorrow as I said, we're doing it different. For the person that is angry, for the person that is hopeless, for the person that is frustrated, in a very humble way, I am just adding to your knowledge so that you might be able to do something different that might be able to help yourself. Brihaspati Devta tells to Indra during this time, you are supposed to be sleeping on the floor, practicing celibacy, worshipping Lord Vishnu, chanting like what we just did with the Ashtakam, chanting his chants, doing Tarpan, Shrad and Dan. And this is what Indra did. After doing all the Shrad and the Puja, and he listened to all the discourses, he took food and he fed dogs and cows and ants and birds, people, Brahman, different people, children, people who had different flaws upon their body were fed. Let me interject. I know we cannot have people over. I am saying what Indra did. On a day like tomorrow, take out a little morsel, 1 tablespoon of whatever you have. If it is a fig, maybe just a fig. Tomorrow morning I have kaimit. I'm using fig and 5 fingers, carambola, etc. Star fruit. The ripe one, put it out for the birds, the ants, at least they will benefit. We are not going to look for people tomorrow. We are not going to look for the cow tomorrow because of our restriction. But if for those of you that are living in countries that have the ability to do that, go if you can. But remember, in our Dharma it says follow the law, do the right thing. For those of you living and you have your pet birds, you have your pet dogs, whatsoever, you're lucky. Just get up in the morning and feed them. Do your normal duty. And in doing it, you're going to get this great amount of blessing. Prepare a meal for your family. And share amongst yourselves. Share that food as if it is prasad that is offered. Just offer a little something. By the Kushras, you'll see me do it tomorrow. Offer a little something. Feed Lord Vishnu. If it would just be a fruit, if that is what you have. If it's sweet rice, if it's something, whatever you have, we're going to feed him in the morning, and then we're going to share that for the people that live in your home. This year we are doing it limited. Next year I promise we'll do it grand. We'll do it big. In some parts of the world, people talk about buying gold and doing Lakshmi Puja. That's because it had, as you hear for yourself, Akshaya Tritiya has nothing to do with those things. That is a myth. That is just something that people came up with. Maybe the commercialization of people wanting to give charity. They came up with the rule that a good gift to give on Akshaya Tritiya is a piece of gold. Because of its value, the person would feel very happy. But it is not the main thing. It is not, if you could give charity, you could give somebody a piece of gold, that's fine. But it is not the main thing. The main thing is having the bath to remove the sin. If you are feeding, if you are helping, if you are sharing, all these things on a normal circumstance, or for those people that are living in countries that are reopening, like in England, where people are starting to open back up. I know tonight the Singh family in Liverpool, you all are seeing a big difference, and God bless you for that. Get up tomorrow and go to the farms in the area and share something. For those people that are downtrodden, help them. Go to the shelter or to the thrift shop and give something so that people can have help, if it's just 2 blankets, whatever you can afford. There are many people that will find ways, inventive ways of doing what they must tomorrow, and they will do it very effectively. You don't have to have the world. What little you have, from that little, as Sudama gave Krishna just the parched rice, and the entire universe was satisfied by that act of kindness, that act of love. And even, you have to say, even in that moment, he felt so ashamed. How could I give the Lord this? This is an example of that. You become Sudama. Become Sudama. How I'll give the Lord 5 fingers tomorrow? How I'll give the Lord kindness tomorrow? And that could I make bus up shut and chana and alu, I could do the world. And I promise you, God bless you, we will. But not this year, not this time. This is not the time for that. We are not going to encourage friends and family to come across and cut up takari and cook, and the pundit will come, and the people thought I was crazy. I learned a lesson this year, well, past year. I was doing prayers for people 24, 25 years, Diwali morning, for example. And this one year comes, last year comes, and I said, you know what, this year I'm not venturing out, there's a pandemic. If you wish, you could come by me in the ashram and we'll do the prayer. And after all that service, get a new pundit. The prayer must go on. And it was a lesson for me, as is a lesson for you. In this world, I always remember Egbert Awai. When I was in the younger days, when I was working, I was running the lab with Blue Waters. And he says, Keshava, this is your Tritiya. You want to see your Tritiya, son? This is your Tritiya. And he took a pen and he put a dot on a piece of paper and he said, this is your portrait. He says, please remember that. Never forget that. We're like a speck of dust. We wear different titles. We call ourselves, big brother and mother and father and rich guy and all these things. But at the end of the day, get sick and die tomorrow, and everybody moves on. Pundit, doctor, politician, everybody. And it was an awakening for me because I didn't see it coming, but it came. So then I did the responsible thing, and I did not guide people to have yagya. As you know, we've been doing this for some time. I didn't encourage anybody to let's do it as normal, and this is why, because we are in danger. And now I am showing you that I wasn't wrong. But what we need to encourage is the prayers in what we can do. Again, this is not the time. Somebody called me today and said, oh, could we call the owner of the jewelry store and get them to open their back door and sell us 2 earrings? And I didn't agree with that. This is not the time. It is not normal. It is not business as normal. And I'm saying this tonight as part of our discourse because it talks about giving charity and going out and meeting people and touching people and helping people. Not right now. There are many animals that need help. They are right there in your yard. Leave it there. Just put it there. I'm sure there are some people who have chickens, some people have dogs, kittens, birds in their yard. Feed those. There will come a time. God bless you, you'll be alive. There will come a time when we will be able to go back and everybody will get involved, and there will be 200 plus people in a satsang, and you'll enjoy the scent of the gogol burning. That will come back. It will. You just have to make sure you are there for it. The question is if you will be there or if I will be there at the rate this thing is killing people. Their karma is what will allow it. Will you have the blessing to be in the Satsangh in the morning? Will you have the blessing to be in the Yagna? When this whole thing is finished, one day we'll do a Satsangh. We'll plan very grand. What will we be doing when COVID is broken? When we triumph that is where we'll be putting our effort. That will be our celebration. That will be as if Ram is returning to Ayodhya, where we are in darkness and that light is coming back. But it is a wake-up call. This time is a purging time. It is a ringing time. It is a learning time for all of us. And we must do what we can afford, what we can muster. And fasting is cheap. Praying is free. Watching the Satsangh on Facebook is free. There's no excuse. You just have to have the courage and the karma to do good for your own sake. Understand the value of what we're doing and appreciate it. Do it. And then the day you get back into the Yagna, appreciate it. I know if I'm talking to my Guyanese brothers and sisters, their concept of prayer. You would go to one Yagna and you will see 800, 1,000 people sitting and waiting to eat 7 curry in their lotus leaves. And that would be fine. If you go to a home or a temple where Guyanese are planning the love, the way they dress their altars with flowers, it is something to admire and it is something to learn from, emulate, because of their love. Not pride just for show, but pride in their devotion. This is my God, this is my Hanuman. He must have a lot of red flowers. I want him to look regal. I want my prayer room to look clean. To clean your prayer room, your home. You're always busy, but now you're home. Are you cleaning your prayer room? That's cheap. That's free. This is a purging time. This is a time to get back to basics. And it is a time to allow this virus to pass. Let it pass. Let it go. And for those people that used to go to the Yagya and just sit and wait for Parasad, never made an effort to really enjoy a prayer, this is a referendum for that. Now we understand what our elders used to enjoy with tears streaming down their face when the Pandit and the group is singing that particular bhajan or sumiran or chaupai or chand, and that part is being read. That emotion of devotion. Today we might appreciate what we had. It is not there anymore. Yagya is not there. The opportunity to go to music class, bhajan class, those things are not there. Unless we want it to come back. Unless we get down and we do what we must so we can champion this demon called COVID. We are not going to win it just so. This discourse is only, this instance with Indra is just an example of what you and I can do tomorrow and other days to do and win. Indra goes and he bathes and he shares food and he does worship to Lord Vishnu on behalf of his ancestors and all. And he says, Guruji says, go now. You have regained your power, your glory. You are now saved from your karma. Remember, don't make the mistake again. This Tritiya is always there. In every fortnight there's the third day. But Akshaya becomes famous because it is the day when Indra was able to triumph over the worst karma, the worst sin. Cursed is the person who accosts a woman. The person who forces himself on a woman. That person is the lowest individual. But persons who are cast down, persons who want to change their life, persons who want to save themselves, all they have to do is do that type of karma, praschit karma, in this month of Vaishak, in particular this day called Akshaya Tritiya, because it has the potency and the ability. Just as it worked for Indra, it could work for you, it could work for me. Trust me, in the morning I am bathing very early with all these ingredients. What will you be doing? Tonight, after I'm finished, I'm going to post up the Sudarshan Ashtakam for you to peruse and read. And I want to thank Sudesh Gopi, who he had sent me the YouTube video with it. He listened to it and he fell in love with it. I'll send it out for the group as well. And I researched it and I fell in love with it myself. Sudesh, God bless you for all that you do. And all those that will read it, God bless you for guiding them. Tonight, as we conclude our discourse, as I am out of time, by no means, I hope, I want to be very abundantly clear. I hope it is clear that I am not in any way endorsing or encouraging any type of sinful act. In this script tonight, taken from Skand Puran, volume 7 of Vaishnav Kand of Skand Puran, this is just an episode that is describing why we have this thing called Akshaya Tritiya. What you have heard tonight is just where a person got sin, lived the punishment of that karma, and then what he did to get it off. And it is just an example for you and I to get up and do what we have to do tomorrow. I'm in no way endorsing the activities of Indra. If a person, but you have to remember that our God is a God of Kripa. Krishna is known as Kripa Raj, the Lord of forgiveness. And we all have committed sin. No person is sinless. If we were sinless, we would have been with God. Every day you and I go through hardships, struggles, punishment in one way or the other. And if we start and turn around our day-to-day life by doing good things, chanting Gayatri, praying while you're bathing, offering your dal, lighting your diya. Remember we did the discourse explaining why the diya has the wick, why put mustard oil, why put coconut oil, why the benefit of those things, why sometimes you see a diya has 2 light, 4 light. What is the purpose of those things? We did that. When you know the value of lighting your diya, do you think somebody has to beg you or badger you, as your mother might nag you to light your diya? Does somebody have to fight you to pray? Ask yourself tonight. Gauge yourself. Nobody wants to have punishment. Nobody wants to lose their job. Nobody wants to lose their money. Their savings is being eroded. My child is sick. My parents are sick. I don't know what is going to happen. What are you doing to save yourself? What are you doing? Tonight I'm ending with a question. What are you doing to help yourself? If tonight alone, please, and me and my family, we're part of this. Do you realize how helpless we are? And the only option we have is to turn to God. This is not a time to allow foreign entities and other parties to attack our faith and to break your resolve in your puja and your prayers. This is a time for you to hold harder and hold fast. Get down on your knees. This is not a time to be reckless. Tonight, as I conclude, I beg you again, please, be responsible. Be responsible for the children that you have. Be responsible for your spouse, your parents. You owe it to them. Don't bring that virus in your home. Don't invite today's Eid and Eid Kareem to all my Muslim brothers and sisters. God bless you for the charity, the prayers, different things that you are doing. And I hope you each and every one, God's choices, blessings. But don't go and endanger those loved ones and then say, God allowed that to happen. God caused this to happen. Before anything bad happens tonight, I'm making a clarion call to all of you. It is time to pick up your prayers, like weapons. And we are going to fight this virus. We are going to fight this sickness. We are going to fight this economic problem. But we must champion this sickness. We must come out of this time. We cannot live with it. We must defeat it. And if it entails some form of isolation, do it. If it entails praying, do it. If it entails taking a vaccine, do it. So that our family will be safe, we will see brighter days. This time will pass. Tonight, as I conclude with this sentiment, everybody, this is what Akshaya Tritiya is about. In this month of Vaishak, where Lord Vishnu had done all his deeds of fighting bad, destroying evil. It is a month to do worship and to have bath, spiritual bath, as we are seeing people in India. Maybe it confused some, maybe this is the first time some are hearing in this month of Vaishak what people do. On tomorrow is also the Sankranti day, so it is a day when people are doing extra havan. Different oils. You'll see me in the morning. We're going to have ghee, we're going to have mustard oil, we're going to have sesame seed oil, different type of oil mixed together, and we're going to do havan with it. At a minimum, Gayatri. Other mantras would be Jagawid. I invite you all to join with me. I invite you all to be with us, as we'll be starting at 7 a.m. and I'm concluding by 9 a.m. We'll be chanting the Sudarshan Ashtakam. I'll be sending it out for those of you on the group. Those of you that would like to reach out to me, my WhatsApp 712-2180. For international, 1-868-712-2180. I'll leave it on the Facebook. Join the group, join the ashram, where we could continue teaching and be in contact. Send me a message tonight on Facebook. If you're watching this on the repeat on YouTube, God bless you. Please subscribe to my station. Please share the Satsangh. There are many people that need that little inspiration, that information for tomorrow, because for some people, all they're knowing, all they're being taught, buy gold and share gold, buy gold and share gold. And when you give the gold, Lakshmi Mata is going to bless you with more money, more gold. You're going to have all the money, but you cannot get breath. You cannot get oxygen. It will not help you. We must do prayer and purification rites to get that karma of sickness, disease away from us and our loved ones. Tomorrow morning, everybody, please draw your hands as we do final mantra, as time has run out. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhu cha sakha tvameva, tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva, tvameva sarvam mama deva deva, tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Om Shanti. Everybody, Shanti, Shanti, Hari Om. Prem se bolo Mahapati Mahadeva ki jai, Bhavana Putra Hanuman ki jai, Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki jai, Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai, Satya Sanatan Dharma ki jai, jai jai, Sitaram. Sitaram, everybody, have a good night and see you first thing in the morning. Remember, get up. If you don't have the Ganga Jal, don't panic. Have your bath, normal water, but just say Gayatri while you're bathing. Right? And prepare yourself. Be ready to have your bath and be ready for 7 a.m. when we're going to the puja. Alright? So, till the morning, everybody. Sitaram.